Boy, that rhythm looks hard.
It's not bad. I bet you could do it if you tried.
Yeah, right. Could you teach me?
We could learn about it together because we've got
rhythm. Hi, I'm Hannah Wren.
And I'm Lydia Ryan.
And we're from the Greencastle Barnstormers in Johnson County.
We are going to talk to you today about
musical time signatures, types of notes.
We will also talk to you about the types of rests and how to count notes and rests in music.
Rhythm is the patterns of the notes, which are the symbols that show tone at a specific rate of speed.
Tone is the highness or lowness of the music, but this presentation isn't about tone. It is about the speed of the notes that are being performed.
So let's start with time signatures. We start with time signatures because they set the rules for the rhythm in each measure afterward.
You might be confused with what a measure is. It is like the box that holds all the notes. It has a certain amount of notes it has to hold in order to be complete and full.
A measure is symbolized with a straight vertical line.
Time signatures look like a fraction without the line in the middle.
The number on top tells you what note or how many beats per measure, while the bottom note tells you, or the bottom number tells you what note gets the beat. We will explain about each of those types of notes later.
A beat is like your heartbeat. It keeps an even pace. We use a metronome, this is a metronome, to find the beat at different tempos, which is the rate of speed. Every time you hear one beep, it resembles one beat.
The 4/4 we have on our poster is not the only time signature in music. 3/4 and 6/8 are also extremely popular. There are even more which are much more complicated to talk about.
Sometimes you will see a time signature that looks like a lowercase c. This c means common time. Since the most common time is 4/4, it is just another way of writing 4/4. Be careful though, because sometimes that C has a line slash down the middle, and it looks similar to the cent sign. It is called cut time. Cut time is another way of writing 2/2. This is because it is common time cut in half.
Now that we've put down the basics, let's start with the types of notes that we talked about earlier. There are many different types of notes that are most commonly used in 4/4. There are a few others that people use in other time signatures as well.
The largest note in 4/4 time signature is called a whole note. It gets 4 beats. It looks like this.
A dotted half note is the next largest in 4/4 time. They call it a dotted half note because it looks like a half note with a dot next to it. A half note gets 2 counts, and the dot is worth half of the note that it follows.
In a dotted half note, the dot is worth 1 beat, and the half note is worth 2 beats. You add them together, and you get 3 beats.
Now let's look at another dotted note, the dotted quarter note. A quarter note gets 1 beat in a 4/4 measure, so the dot resembles half of the beat. Then add them together and it equals 1 1/2.
There are also eighth notes, which represent a half of a beat, and 16th notes, which represent a fourth of a beat.
I just noticed a pattern.
Really? What is it?
You can only fit 1 whole note in a 4/4 measure. That's why they call it a whole note. It's like a dollar in money terms. And then there's the half dollar, and you can only fit 2 of those in a 4/4 measure. It's similar to a half dollar.
I understand what you are talking about. A quarter note resembles a quarter in money because you can fit 4 quarter notes in one measure, and 4 quarters equal a dollar.
There's one more type of note that we haven't talked about yet, and it's quite common. It's called the triplet. There are many different kinds of triplets.
Triplets are 3 notes in the space of where 2 notes of the same kind would normally be played in. Eighth note triplets are triplets that are in just 1 beat in 4/4 time. There are also quarter note triplets. These are 3 notes in a time of 2 beats in 4/4 time. These are the most common, but there are many others, like Hannah said earlier.
When counting triplets, we prefer to count them so the first one of the 3 is tri, then the second one is po, and finally the last one is lit. When you put them together, it sounds like triplet.
Let's all say this together. We'll do three of them right in a row, and let's do 8th note triplets, which are 3 notes in the space of where you hear in between 2 beeps of the metronome. So we'll do 3 of them. So let's go. Ready, go. Triplet, triplet, triplet. So everybody do that with me. Ready, go. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Good.
There are other ways of counting triplets. Some people like to say it like this: 1 ollie, 2 ollie, or 1 teta, 2 teta. I think we can start learning about the basics of counting.
I think we all know how to count, Hannah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wait. In music, when you count, you have to count in time, and you never go past the number of beats per measure. So in 4/4 time, you can only count to the number 4. In music, you just don't use numbers either.
Will you explain it to me?
Yes, it's pretty simple. The first thing you need to do is analyze your time signature. Here the time signature is 2/4. What does that mean?
It means that the quarter note gets the beat, since there's a 4 on the bottom, and there are 2 beats in measure because of the 2 on the top.
Yeah, exactly. Now the first example shows quarter notes. Since the quarter note gets the beat, each quarter note you see, you count. So this one is 1, 2.
Let's say this with the metronome. Ready, go. 1, 2. Everybody do it with me. Ready, go. 1, 2.
Now let's go to 8th notes. Earlier when we showed you 8th notes, they look like this. In regular music, when 2 8th notes are right next to each other, the composer will often bunch the 2 of them together to make it obvious where the beat is. This is what they look like.
Remember, 8th notes have a value of half of a quarter note. Every odd number of 8th notes, such as the first and the third 8th note, you count as if they were quarter notes. So they are 1, 2. This is because they are the notes that occur on the beat. When musicians count 8th notes, they use the word "and" to represent the second 8th note of the sequence, here and here.
This means that when you count 8th notes in this time signature, you say 1 and 2 and.
Now everyone say this with me with the metronome. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and.
This next measure is an example of 16th notes. When 16th notes are bunched together to show where the beat is, they look like this.
When you count 16th notes, you count them like this. 1 and a, 2 and a. Notice you haven't abandoned the numbers on the beat and the ands on the off beats. Since 16th notes split 8th notes in half, you add the extra letters E and to symbolize them. They really make it easy because they just fly off your tongue.
Now let's say these together. Ready, go.
1 and a, 2 and a.
Wow, that sounded great. Now that we have learned how to count all these notes, let's put them together to create a whole new measure.
This one is counted like this. 1, 2 and a. Let's all try this together. Ready, go. 1, 2 and a. Now that you guys are all stellar at counting, we have a new twist to bring to you. If you have noticed any piece of music from your radio to an opera you saw on television, you know there is never constant sound in a single piece. It just isn't possible for the performer, and it wouldn't be very appealing to you as a listener.
Therefore, music from a long time ago has included rests. Rests are just what they sound like. They're the symbols that are used to represent a specific amount of time of silence.
All of the types of rests are the same as the types of notes, except they look different, so it is distinguishable between the notes and the rests. The largest one is called the whole rest. It looks like an upside down top hat. In 4/4 time, just like the whole note, it receives 4 counts. In 3/4 time, though, it receives 3.
The next largest is the half rest, and this one looks like an upside down top hat. Or it looks like a top hat. Sorry. This gets 2 counts of rest in a 4/4 time. The quarter rest looks like a squiggly line, and it gets 1 count of rest. And finally, there is the 8th rest, and this one looks like a half beat, or it will get a half a beat of rest in a 4/4 time.
We have a few final practice counting examples that we believe you are ready for now. When there's a rest, clap.
So the first thing you need to do, and I'm going to tell you the first one, and Lydia's going to tell you the second one. So the first thing you need to do is analyze your time signature. So here the time signature is 4/4. So this one is one, 4, and. Ready, go. 1, 4, and. Sorry.
So this is 2 beats of rest. The next one is in 4/4 time signature again, but it's a little more tricky than the other. There's 2 things that make it more complicated. The first thing is there are 2 times where you will see an 8th note on the off beat without an 8th note on the beat in front of it. The common mistake is people will rush that 8th rest and so they can get to the note. So always be aware of that problem when you see that rhythm in your music. The second thing is there's a triplet. This is what an 8th note triplet looks like, because there's 1 bar on top, just like this 8th note on top over here. You will always be able to tell when an 8th note or a triplet is because there is a 3 on top. So always look for that as well. I'll do it first, and then Hannah will clap for the metronome. And then you guys can join me for the second time. Ready, go. And, triplet, and. So let's all do that together. We'll see if we can do it. Ready, go. And, triplet, and. Good job.
Now it's time to review. Today we talked to you about time signatures, the types of notes.
We also talked to you about the types of rests and how to count notes and rests in music.
If you want to get better at playing rhythms, you will have to practice them every day, but have fun as well. Well, I'm off to go practice my trumpet now.
That concludes our presentation. Are there any questions? Yes, in middle school, yeah. Mm-hmm. The question was, are either of us in chorus? And yes, we're both in choir. So yes, it both applies to choir and band. Are there any questions? Other questions? Yes. The question was, is the instrument that I was playing at the beginning similar to a tuba? And he'll answer that since I answered the first one.
Yes, it's pretty similar. It's just like the nickname for it is like the miniature tuba, so yeah.
But it sounds kind of similar to a trombone, but it's got a little more richer, deeper sound to it. Are there any other questions?
If not, this
That concludes our presentation. Thank you.